In this course, you'll learn how to use historical evidence effectively to answer questions about the past. But what does that mean? What does this actually look like? Let's break it down step by step using an example essential question. So in this case, we could pretend to be answering this particular essential question. What role did illustrated songs play in promoting early 20th century sheet music? Now, to answer this question, you'll need to draw on evidence from the assigned readings. Remember, you're not doing the reading just because your teacher told you. You're doing the reading because you're actively searching for evidence, information, to help answer questions about the past. So imagine that you are doing the reading from the textbook and you come across this interesting quotation. A newspaper report from 1906 noted that a Nickelodeon program in downtown Manhattan featured 2 short travel films, a cowboy picture, a song performed by a man sponsored by a music publisher who also provided illustrated slides with his name in large letters, 3 more films, and the announcement that the program would change every half week. Now, this is a great find. This explicitly gives us information, evidence that will help us to answer this particular question, right? So what's next? Well, you need to cite your sources. Historians need to know where the evidence comes from. If you include a quote without citing it, you might get a comment like missing citation. So what you want to do is always drop in a citation. What does this mean? It tells the reader where this quote came from. In this case, the author of the textbook and the page in the textbook where this quote can be found. Now, what else do we need? We need to use quotation marks for exact quotes. Whenever you use exact wording from a source, enclose it in quotations where it starts and where it ends, right? This makes it clear that these are not your words, but those of another author. Without quotation marks, your reader might think you're paraphrasing, or worse, plagiarizing. What else do you need? Well, before introducing a quote, you need to prepare your reader by explaining its context. You need to let the reader know immediately where it's coming from. So in this case, you can simply say, according to the textbook, right? So introductory phrase, according to the textbook. This brief setup gives your reader context for the evidence that follows. Now, the most important step here is making an argument. What are you trying to say? What's your point? Evidence alone isn't enough. You need to interpret it and explain how it supports your point. So, for example, in response to the question, what role did illustrated songs play in promoting early 20th century sheet music? Here's the argument that you might make in relation to this evidence that you found. You might say, the structure of Nickelodeon programs ensured audience engagement by offering much more than just silent films to their working class immigrant patrons. These audiences enjoyed a wide variety of amusements, including illustrated songs. Now you've got this quote from the textbook that actually supports what it is you're trying to say here. You're making an argument about the attraction of Nickelodeon programs, a wide variety of amusements, including illustrated songs, and you go to the evidence, and here you have a description of an early Nickelodeon program with, what do you know, illustrated songs. And then finally, to wrap this all up, you need to explain why the evidence is significant. Why does it matter? Why are you bothering to tell us this? So, for instance, in this case, you might drop in this argument after the quote. Nickelodeons were more than just movie theaters. They were spaces for diverse entertainment. By including the live performance of illustrated songs along with the motion pictures, they attracted working class patrons featuring affordable and varied amusements, right? So once again, you've got the evidence, you have an introductory phrase, you have the citation, you have an analysis of the evidence, and you have an explanation of why it is significant. So to wrap this up, let me just say this. Common pitfalls to watch out for. Don't include a quote without explaining its relevance. Always cite your sources and ensure that your evidence directly supports your argument. And when in doubt, this is what you ask yourself. Does the evidence that I've identified, the evidence that I'm trying to use, does it actually help to answer the question and support my argument? If the answer is yes, you're on the right track. If no, you should probably go in and look for better evidence.